Right, so I just fueled up. I'm just in Sainsbury's in Sudbury. Just been chatting with some kid and his mum. He's like, cool bike, I've got one of them, a little KTM. I love seeing the little nippers on their bikes. It's so good to see. Right, let's get going. So busy in town today. Stour's looking pretty high at the minute, which I guess is to be expected, all the rain we've had. So these lights at the bottom of Ballenden Hill, you turn right here to go down to TTT Motorcycles. It's in the industrial estate, but we're going to go left towards Middleton. Not concentrating, Michael. Good to see with that sign there. Because you can ride this year round on a bike, but they put a barrier at the other end and it can be tricky to get over with a big bike. Obviously I'm on the CRF today, but I'm just thinking if anyone watches this and then fancies coming and doing this, then they will definitely get down. Nice little lane, this. It does get a bit slippy in winter. Now, I've got some mega aggressive tyres on today, so I'm not going to have any problems down here, but if you're coming down here on you know, something like Pirelli STRs, just be careful, can easily catch you out. Surely she bloody heard me coming. So welcome to another adventure. I'm just out for a little blast today, just doing a route recce really, and well, I just wanted to get out. I haven't been out on the bike since the Brecford rally. I nearly went out last night after work, but I was just worn out. Yeah, so these are those horrible gates that they in winter look, and so you're supposed to be able to get your bike over that beam there, which if you're on a big bike is not easy. And you can just sneak round it sometimes, but the locals keep putting bloody logs and that there, which you're never going to get through there with a Land Rover, so I don't see why they keep doing that anyway. It's another story. Yeah, so I just wanted to get out on the bike today, just a bit of a blast, and I thought I could kill a few birds with one stone. I've got a bit of a route I'm trying to put together, and some of it I've not done before, and I want to make it so that it's big bike friendly, so some bits I need to recce. I am going to do a sort of, well, it's going to be a 3-day trip I think, and I'm going to put it all together and put out some GPX files, but you know, that's another story. But another story for another day. So anyway, so I wanted to recce a bit of this route, get out on the bike, not ridden for a while, just stretch my legs. Got a new day sack that I'm testing out, so I just wanted to give that a blast out, see how I get on with that. You know, I don't like doing anything long distance with new kit, you know what, it's a bad idea generally, trying new stuff and not knowing how you get on with it. Yeah, just wanted to check out my new day sack and also just give these motor skivvy shorts another decent run out, see how I get on with them. I was quite impressed with them at the rally. I thought they performed really well. I've also got some new gloves on, so I'm just breaking them in as well. I've done about 2 or 3 rides in them now and they're still a bit stiff. Yeah, more on them later I guess. So we've started in Sudbury in Suffolk and we're steadily going to make our way over to Cambridgeshire. So we're just going to meander through a bit of Essex now. So we've hopped over the border into Essex from Suffolk. Do a few lanes in Essex and then eventually sort of head towards Clare and then over towards Linton and into Cambridgeshire and then probably when I get onto the outskirts of Cambridge I'm going to call it a day there, then zoom back home down the A14 because I've got to go into a quiz night tonight, so don't want to be late for that, otherwise we're getting grief off my missus and my neighbour. Yeah, this is why I bought this bike, just so I could come on these sorts of trips and not be constantly worried about getting myself into trouble and being on my own. And by that I mean, you know, getting a bike stuck or, you know, getting it somewhere where you can't get the bike, get it out of a blooming bog or out of a ditch, etc. She's friendly. So this byway takes you to somewhere called Bulmer brickworks. I'm sure I've done a video where I've been through here before, but if not, it's just down the road here. It's absolutely insane. I mean, if there's any Americans watching this, I mean, this is the sort of stuff you guys tend to love. I think us Brits take all this for granted. Well, I certainly don't, because I love it. I love the history. But yeah, Bulmer brickworks is well, something out of a Dickens novel. So this is it here. So the byway goes right through the middle of the brickworks. So look, so these are all the burning sheds. So this is where they obviously they've got the ovens and they put the bricks in there and then they bring them out here and put them over there to dry out. So I'm not sure if that's pre-firing or after the firing. Don't know. Some of them over there, you can see they've got blankets on. That'll be a what do you call it? Let's just stop them cracking and that. They'll probably be damp. And I mean, just look at this place. Unbelievable. Expensive bricks though. They're not your sort of standard, you know, run-of-the-mill bricks. These are things that they use for sort of historical projects, and like the local planning officers, if you're repairing a listed building, you know, they'll want bricks that are comparable to the bricks of the time, you know, a like for like. Amazing place. Right, anyway, onwards. this is the lovely village of Castle Hedingham. It's a nice little route, this actually. You pass through some lovely little villages. Well, I'm hoping it's going to be a great sort of big bike route. Shouldn't be anything that's too tricky. Well, there's a couple of lanes sort of Cambridge way that I don't know that well, so I just want to check them out before I sort of start telling people, yeah, get down it on your big bike, mate, you'll be fine. The castle's just over there. Nice little village. And villages like Castle Hedingham, I don't think most people would associate it with Essex, because I think a lot of people have got a dim view of Essex, but in places it's such a beautiful place. I love some of the lanes out here, and they're such easy going, you know, they're really nice big bike lanes, and a lot of them are quite like this, you know, they're quite gravelly and flat. I mean, you can sit down pretty much for most of this. There's, you know, you're not standing up all day. You've got to be wary, keep your eye out, and there's the odd bump that you've got to stand up for. It's certainly not a tiring day on the bike doing this. Just a nice, pleasant ride. There's a fair bit of rape in flower at the minute, and bluebells are out, so might get some really cool photography opportunities today. Now there's a little ford at the end of this lane, but don't panic, it's only little. Yeah, so we're just coming up to it now. Yeah, so there's the stream to our left. Down there, look. The ford is just here. See, now that isn't too taxing. Okay, we're going left here. Right, so we've just strayed back into Suffolk again. Heading towards Clare now. This is a nice long, dead easy byway, this one. Yeah, we're just obviously in that time of year where you get a couple of 2 or 3 days and you think, oh, maybe the trail will be quite dry, but then when you get out there it's still quite wet, and in places here you see it's still quite boggy, so it could easily catch you out. Now, as ever with any trip, I mean, for me, tyres are everything, and I'm constantly going on about tyres to my mate, because he's fairly new to riding off-road, and I'm trying to sort of get beyond all the bullshit that everyone puts out there about these 50-50 tyres, which I think is an absolutely useless way of describing tyres. Because most people would assume that, oh, if I've got 50-50 tyres on and I only ride my bike off-road 50% of the time, then I'm going to be fine. Well, no mate, that's not the case. That's not how it works. I mean, surely, for me, in my book, if you only ride your bike off the road 10% of the time, you still need bloody grip for that 10%. So, oh, maybe I'll rant on more about this later, but you can see how, you know, when it gets a bit slippy and sloppy, how poor tyre choice, not enough knobbles can soon catch you out. When you go down these sorts of lanes, you do sort of like get tunnel vision after a bit, and well, I do anyway, it feels a bit weird. over. There's a bit in a minute where I'm going to stop. Oh, it was there. Just do it around the corner then. And stop, have a pee. Okay, so for those that are interested, just a quick walk around the bike. What I've been up to since you saw me last. So like I said, I've not been out on the CRF since the Brecchford Rally. So what I've been up to, well, I've made another new screen because somehow I broke the other one at Brecchford, no idea. So that's me £8 bit of perspex and just cut it and shape it slightly in a couple of holes. So got some pen marks I need to rub it off. Yeah, so I've done that. I've still got the same tyres on from Brecchford. So this is the Mitas C19 front and XT754 rear, which is, well, it's a beast of a tyre. It's well knobbly, but it's been fine on the road coming here. The roads are dry, no problems whatsoever. I mean, on wet roads they are a little bit, well, not hairy. You've just got to be careful. You've just got to ride according to the tyres that you've got on the bike, and that's the same in any scenario, be it on road or off road. So but with that combination on today, I'm not going to come across anything that's going to catch me out, so that's not a problem. So I've still got the C19 tyres on. Now these are the new gloves that I've recently bought. I did buy these for the Brecchford Rally, but in the end I never used them. So these are some Klim, I forget what they're called, I'll put a link in, but they are Gore-Tex gloves. So I wanted something that was Gore-Tex but I could use in the summer, so they're not very thick at all. Put that on, you see there's not actually a lot of, I mean, I went out in them, it was about 8 degrees and my hands got cold, so they're not really a winter glove. I would say they're just a summer rain glove. And so they have got a bit of something in the knuckles there, not a lot, but I like them because they're quite thin and give you, plenty of dexterity. So they're nearly there, they just need a few more wears and then they'll be really, really comfortable. But I like them. I've not worn them in the rain yet, but what I do like about them is they work with touch screens. So it's just the thumb and your first finger. I mean, I always use my phone, so I'm using my phone today to navigate, and so the Garmin's not an issue because of whatever they do with the screen on the Garmin XT Zumo. It works with any gloves, but phones don't. So I always struggle to find gloves that work with screens. But they've been good so far. They work with the screen, no problem whatsoever. Right, so we're just winding our way now. We're back into Essex, back over the Stour. So we're just winding our way now over towards Steeple Bumpstead. Stuck in a bit of traffic. Okay, so we're going left. Alrighty. Like I say, it's going to be a great route on a big bike. Some nice, quiet, twisty lanes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm loving it on this. Even with some proper knobblies on. Down here. There's definitely a bit of rain over there. Thankfully, we're over here. The reason I have this motorbike is because of this lane, because I came down here on my Triumph Tiger about 3 years ago, and I just got into sort of adventure bikes and green laning, and I came down here in the Tiger, and the start of this lane, as you've probably seen from the footage, it just starts off really benign and, you know, and unthreatening, but then you got further and further and further down the lane and it just turned into an absolute fucking nightmare. So as you can see here, it's all of a sudden it's getting really muddy and really rutty, and somewhere here, I mean, it was worse than it is now. It was really wet, and the ruts were way deeper, and I got stuck with my Tiger, and I just couldn't get the bike shifted, and how I got it out in the end, I don't know, but it absolutely spoilt my day, and I was sweating like a pig, and I was worn out, and I was frustrated, and I had you know, what the industry calls 50-50 tyres, but they'd been shit. Slightest bit of mud and they were just really scary, and so it's because of this lane I bought this bike, because I thought, nah, I want something that I can take out, and no matter what, I can get myself out of trouble. I mean, obviously if you fall and hurt yourself and you're on your own, then, you know, you're buggered, but essentially, since I've had this bike, I have no fear of going out and just riding wherever I want to ride, because I know I'm not going to get it stuck in a rut. I know I can just lift it out and turn it round and go back the way I came from. Whereas when you're trying to lift a 215 kilo adventure bike out of a rut, and it's also a bit muddy, and maybe it's a hot day, it is a pain in the arse. So that's clearly one of those lanes where the myth about 80-20, 50-50 tyres is just a pointless myth, because it doesn't help you. They're the sort of scenarios where you need a bit of grip, you need some decent tyres, or you need a really light bike. Yeah, so that's the lane in Steeple Bumpstead, the sort of first one you come to. So if you're not feeling too confident, you might want to miss that one out. On a dry day, it will be benign as anything. A little bit rutty, but you'll get through it. But if there's been a bit of rain and it's a bit puddly and a bit muddy, then it could turn into an absolute freaking nightmare. Right, so just here, I reckon it's there. There. Mike. Right, I've not been up this one before. New lane to me, this. They do tend to look after the lanes pretty well in Essex, actually, and a lot of them are quite narrow like this, so probably a bit too narrow for your average 4x4. Sit there and make a brew. Not today though. Yeah, these are perfect big bike lanes. Well, certainly for people of, you know, of average ability or less. I have to say that at Breccia Rally there were some guys on T7s, and I just couldn't believe how rapid they were. And I mean, we've all seen people like Paul Tarres, but I mean, this was on another level. Absolutely, well, not on another level, but on another level, because they're just amateurs, you know, just guys out on their T7s. You know, he's a professional rider and pretty awesome. So, but they had decent tyres on, and I'm going to keep ramming on about this until the world gets it. You know, if you've got decent tyres on it, it goes a long bloody way. I've got a real hatred for those Pirelli STR, pardon me, I've got a real hatred for those Pirelli SDRs that come standard on the T7 and quite a few other bikes, like the, you know, like the Ducati Desert X and one or two others. They're not a 50-50 tyre. I mean, they're an 80-20 tyre at best. But as I keep saying, all you need is a bit of rain and you're buggered. You're absolutely screwed. And then it just turns into a slop fest, and you're potentially heading into a world of hurt. So there's another lane I've not done before. Yeah, straight up here. There we go. Keep your eye on the ball on some of these lanes, because they can be quite deceptive with the ruts, because the rut edge bakes and it becomes quite solid, and then it's it's easy then to get cross-rutted in what's just like a tiny little rut, especially if you've not got particularly knobbly tyres on. This one could do with finding somewhere to stop and have a brew though. So it bends on to the right. This is very nice. I think it's a good day. Straight down to the main road. Now we're going right at the end. To Bartlow. Oh, if there's a pub I might be tempted just for a stop for a quick shandy. Oh look, pub. No, we'll keep going. We'll keep going. Straight on. Another day. Sean, if you're watching, we'll come and do this, mate, and we'll stop there for a pint. Must be here. Yep. Pick a side, any side. Fuck me, I'm glad I'm not married to her. Yeah, so over to my left now, over there. The other side of those trees will be Linton, so we're sort of north of Linton now on a byway. It's quite a long byway, but I think when we turn right, the bit that goes straight on is a restricted byway, so don't get caught out. I mean, obviously if you're following the GPX route, if I do stick it out there for everyone, then you know you shouldn't go wrong. But I mean, while we're on that, I mean, just don't assume that because I've put out the GPX file that everything is kosher and legal. I mean, I've done my damnedest to make sure it is, with all the tools at my disposal. So I'm, you know, 100% confident here and now today that everything is legal. But obviously councils put in temporary restriction order, traffic restriction orders, temporary traffic restriction orders, while they do repairs or whatever. I mean, it should be fairly obvious if there are any restrictions, because they love a sign. Everyone loves a sign when it comes to stopping people green laning, and so there will be something. But yeah, do your research and just check. Don't take it whenever you get a route from someone that it is good and kosher. The Cambridgeshire definitive map is actually pretty useful, as is the Norfolk one, and the Essex one's not bad. The Suffolk one is just pants. If you're not sure, you're best off ringing them up, which I did the other day actually, because there's a route that's closed in Thetford that's quite a popular bit through King's Forest, and so I called for clarification because there was a bit of confusion as I saw it as to what was going on. So it's quite tricky this actually, because it's quite rough, and there's ruts and bits going all over everywhere, and it's quite muddy, and you know, there are other users, so you can't always just go exactly where you want to go. Mr. and Mrs. Misery. They're not going to move off the line of the track, are they? They're going to be absolute. That's about it. Yeah, absolute. So this is good practice coming along here and staying in a rut. Do not be afraid of the rut. The rut is your friend. You've just got to learn how to ride them. If you're a beginner rider, practice ruts. A lot of people crash when I'm out and about with like group rides because they're avoiding ruts, and their bike is generally happy in a rut. It's in the rut, it's not going to go anywhere. It's like being on a railway line, but you as the rider have just got to practice riding ruts and get used to it. Right, so this is where we turn right. So we're just north of the village Bulmer now. Coming past this bit of a wind farm. I might get a drone out. There's a great picture there, all that rapeseed and what have you. I better stop just here and have a brew actually. Nice little viewing plaza. Got a fence there. But hey, let's stop here and have a brew. I've really enjoyed this so far. I mean, it's an easy route, you know, there's not a lot to it, but it's just such a beautiful part of the world. I mean, a perfect big bike route this when it's dry. I mean, you're fine in the wet if you're used to riding it in a bit of slop and you've got some decent tyres on, but yeah, it's a bit great sort of great summer route. Right, okay, let's get the flock out of here. Ugh. Oh dear, what gear I'm in. cyclists come by. Third. Fourth. So this is Great Wilbraham, and just got to go down here, and then it's the last byway of today. So down here, I think. Should be a byway sign here. Yeah, public byway. Yeah, so this is the last one. Well, this has been brilliant today. Really enjoyed it. Absolutely perfect big bike route. But as ever, what's this dickhead parking here for? As ever, just make sure you've got the right tyres on. Straight over here. To get through this time. Might struggle to get your GS through there, guys. Right, round to the right now. Sorry, around to the left. So you could go right there. Once I get to the end of this, I might actually come back and go down there, because then you can come up. I think that's the A11. Yeah, so you can come up the side of the A11, get onto this A1303, and where'd you go? Somewhere around here. I can't remember where now. Yeah, so come east up the A1303, then turn left up that orange lane there, look, and then you've got this byway here that goes all the way up the side of the A14. If memory serves me right, it takes you right to the services, so you can go and get a brew and that. Right, I just want to go up to Bottisham, and that's the end of my route for today. I didn't put any warm layers on it. It's been toasty today. Yeah, I never did get my GoPro back from the Wretch for Rally, so I've got a new GoPro now, and this is the first time I've used it. So if you aren't watching this, that will be because there's no sound. If you are watching this, everything has worked okay. There's a strange paradox there. Alright, okay, yeah, I remember this. So this comes over the A14. Huh. Well, I know where I'd sooner be today. Definitely on my bike and not on there. Now, as I said at the beginning, this is going to be part of a route that I'm putting together, and but I've just got to find the time to film it and put it out there, because it's going to take me 3 days. But I'm really pleased with this, because this has been good, and which bodes well for what I'm planning. gypsy camp there. Right, yeah, okay, so that's it. So we are now in Bottisham. Brilliant. So if you do come and do this route, I will try and endeavour to put a GPX file. I'll obviously stick it in the links like I normally do, in the description below. And yeah, so it's just obviously going to be an A to B route, not a circular route. But if you have a look online, like I say, you can then link this up with some byways and head over to Thetford Way now, and you could head over towards Thetford and then quite feasibly work your way back to Sudbury. And I've primarily done this as a big bike route, but you could quite easily just come and do this on your, you know, CRF 250, whatever. It's just a nice day out. It's not the most technical thing, but it's a good little blast. And there's loads more lanes in Cambridgeshire, so if you have a look on there, on the Cambridgeshire County Council's definitive map, you'll find loads more good lanes. Anyway, that's enough from me for today, so thanks for joining me, thanks for coming on along for the ride. I hope you've enjoyed it. As ever, any questions, stick them in the comments below. Kit, riding, whatever. I am going to put together a Two Wheeled Adventures Facebook group, so sort of like a, not like a I have got a Facebook page, but more of a group that you join, and then it will help then if I put other files in with routes and people can talk about things and what has and hasn't worked. So just have a search for that. So it'll be under Two Wheeled Adventures. Again, I'll try and put a link in the description. So again, thanks for coming along for the ride. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll see you back on the channel again for another adventure soon. Or failing that, hopefully we'll see you out on the trail riding your bike. Bye for now.